The problem is, we don't know what else to do. Like, there's a story to be told here. Right. We don't know what happened.
We don't know what else to do. I'm going to say this.
Since we don't have the only person that can tell us what happened
is dead.
But we can try to piece it together.
And I want to say this was not done right. No crime scene tape.
We are open to any suggestions you all can
I'm saying this. They didn't do their job, and the whole world's going to know it.
What would this accomplish? I'm a grieving parent that my daughter got raped and murdered, and you're telling me right now that I don't have a right to know what happened? The story's right here. It's right here. And it's still sitting here. Still!
Do we believe that he executed them?
I don't know that I would use the term executed. I believe that McFadden shot all of the other decedents.
Do we think he planned this?
I don't know.
Do we know if they were doing anything when the killings happened, like an activity of some sort outside?
Wasn't anything obvious.
Do you think he acted alone?
Don't have any evidence to indicate that there was anybody else involved.
Other than McFadden's brief conviction and his pending child porn charges, did he have any more recent run-ins with law enforcement that would act as warning signs?
Not that I'm aware of. Absent his lengthy prison sentence and his Muskogee County case.
Is there any indicator that any of the victims were drugged or anything?
Not that I'm aware of.
At this point, has the case been ruled as a murder-suicide?
We don't ever just rule a case, to use your term, but we don't have any evidence to believe that it's anything other than 6 murders and a suicide. I want to be clear, all right? I do not believe that the parents of Brittany or Ivy did anything wrong, and they are devastated by the loss of their children.
How unusual is this, Jennifer? Police letting the parents of the victims into this house. They are wading their way through this. They find one of the victims' cell phones. Is it normal for police to release a crime scene this early with so much key evidence left behind? There are just systematic failures here, that this was a man already in prison for many years for a violent rape, that he actually broke rules while he was in prison. He had a cell phone smuggled in at that time, trying to make contact with women. Is that right? And that he was also actually facing new charges for grooming a minor when this occurred. He was due in court the same day that these bodies were discovered on his property.
Phone case with the screaming ghost face on the back. Okay.
There's a phone.
I don't hear them. Yeah, those are Tiffany's face.
Tiffany's bed print is the cow print.
And the cow slippers over here. Apples. In a witch. Oh my God. What? On the floor over there.
This is a huge. See guys. Get the fuck out right here.
This is the room. Do you remember when they said that they were making Riley sleep on their bedroom floor? Where was she sleeping at? There is no room on that floor. And then here, come over here and get on one side. These rooms still look like that.
Give me something to grab.
Take a picture. Take pictures.
It's on video.
That's them.
It's on.
Hey, that's them.
Okay.
Here, use this sack. Dump these locks there.
No, those locks?
That's evidence too.
So is those
He
drugs.
just wants us. That's
that hers?
Yep. Okay. Hold on.
Call the sheriff.
Yep.
Don't touch them. Don't move them.
Let's back out.
Did you know Jesse McFadden?
We knew him just because our kids were close. So we would communicate, pick up drop-offs, stuff like that, but we weren't like friendly outside of that. But we had met him and Holly many times.
And were you aware that he had a record, that he'd recently been released from prison and had he was a convicted sex offender?
We had no idea.
We didn't
find out until we saw like the Amber Alert with his mugshot, and then our phone started blowing up from Facebook and people just sending us everything that they knew about it.
Wait, so this is a small town. You had no idea this man had been recently released from prison after being convicted of rape and was due in court just yesterday for child pornography? You had no idea.
We moved here 2 years ago, and Tiffany, Guess, and our daughter were best friends, and I guess if Holly had to say something knowing that he was, then she should have said something, but we didn't really know anything about this guy. We had a read on him that he was a little weird, but we felt comfortable, especially knowing that several of our daughter's friends would go over there all the time and hang out. They would go over there on the weekends. Tiffany would come over here at our house and stay here on the weekends, and it was just back and forth, and we never suspected any kind of maliciousness.
Right, so this was not the first time that the girls had all had spent time at each other's houses, not the first time there had been a sleepover, no warning at all that this was somewhat different, nothing about this weekend's plans was a little bit different or off to you?
No.
Nothing.
Jesse usually took Tiffany and her friends to the lake all the time. They've been
kayaking.
They've been to that ranch that was brought up, but they didn't. They said that they never even went to the ranch the other day.
Yeah, they'd go roller skating, camping. They were always doing stuff.
Had you ever met this Jesse McFadden? I mean, had you ever interacted with him? I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
So I can tell you on a couple accounts, thank you. I can tell you on a couple accounts that, most of the time that we seen Jesse was during drop off. If we dropped Ivy off over there, or Tiffany or one of the other kids were staying the night here, they would come in the house and we would maybe chit chat for 10-15 minutes, talk about work, talk about Holly's arts and craft as she does, and we had interactions. I remember one time we went to Jim Hall Lake, where he usually goes a lot too, and so I'm hoping OSBI will investigate there as well. But he met us out there with the girls to go swimming at Jim Hall Lake, and he was out there kayaking and fishing and kind of hanging out with us. But for the most part, I mean, we didn't know the personal side to him, and just knowing who he was based off what our interactions were with him, there was never any signs of maliciousness. He was a monster in disguise and really good at what he did.
And obviously Ivy had never mentioned anything. I mean, had she ever said anything to you about this Jesse McFadden that, hey, he's a little weird, or?
My wife and I, we felt he was kind of socially awkward, kind of weird, but as I said, nothing malicious. And that's one thing that's kind of baffled us, walking through that house and seeing everything that was in that house. Obviously, it was all out in the open at that point, going through that house afterwards. But as far as our kids going over there and staying the night there, they've never said anything to us. So I don't know where he hid most of everything he had in that house or how he did it. I know a lot of the stuff was purchased the day before. But yeah, and our kids never said anything.
So a lot of these items that were for sexual activity, for some pretty rough stuff, it's my understanding, you said were purchased the day before the homicides?
As far as the sex toys and bondages and whatnot, I can only confirm that the chains and the locks and like some of the marijuana gummies and stuff that we were finding, that was purchased that weekend. I believe the day before, if not that Friday before. I had a receipt in my hand from Walmart from the bag that had the empty package for the padlocks in it and some additional chains in my hand. And I set it on the kitchen counter when the deputies asked us to get out of the house after we found some more evidence for them. That was the third time we went back there. And as far as where that receipt went after that, I don't know.
So did you know Jesse McFadden at all? What was your interaction with him?
Brittany had spent weekends with him for about 2 years, and I had met Jesse twice, and nothing had come alarming to me for about 2 years.
On Wednesday, Okmulgee Police Chief Joe Prentice told us they only found 2 phones.
We recovered one phone from the residence that we believe is Holly's. We recovered pieces of a phone from a wooded area.
The lawyer representing the Websters said in a statement, no words can express this family's fear that the sexual assault of their baby girl has been placed on the dark web, and demanded that law enforcement seize all electronics from the house.
And it seems that every day we find out even more about this horrendous crime.
I'm very interested, Ashley, in the 32 cell phones you mentioned that are registered to that address. The addresses on the cell phone accounts, all 32 of them register back to that ranch address. What does that mean, especially when you bring in the fact that there are a high number of child sexual predators that live right in that area near where the ranch is? I mean, you put the pieces of the puzzle together, everything you've talked about that was found inside the house, the drugs, the pictures of young children in lewd positions, the chains that were tied up on the ground. It was clearly some kind of torture house. And then you wonder why cell phones would be registered there from 32 different people, and that there's this high number of sexual predators in the area. I think we're going to find out a lot more now that they're finally investigating all of it.